Our next item is item P7, Technology Deputy Director's Report. Item P7-1 is the CROS Project Update and Actions.
Good morning, Chairwoman Ma, honorable members. Happy Tuesday. Good to see you. I'm Brenda Fleming, CIO for the agency and Deputy Director for Technology Services Department. I'm pleased to be here today to give you this month's report on CROS and have Mr. Chris Cayeti, our Project Director, and Trista Gonzalez, our Business Manager, provide this month's report.
Great. Welcome.
Good morning. So I'm Chris Cayeti. I'm CROS Project Director, and with me is Trista Gonzalez, as Brenda pointed out, and we're here to give the opportunity to provide you an update on the CROS project today. I'll turn it over to Krista.
Good morning, Trista Gonzalez, CROS Business Project Manager. The negotiation process continues with all bidders, and there are no new issues to report. We're on track to have a contract formalized and signed this summer and a contractor on board later this year. The Fit and Ready campaign continues. We are looking forward to sharing project information at the headquarters Professional Development Days next week. Additionally, our program area readiness team continues to work with all of the business program areas in refining business rules and documenting our processes. This also includes working with the Financial Management Division to refine the fund allocation business rules.
And in regards to the core project management activities, improvements for the enterprise planning and resource management process to ensure availability of staff resources for CROS are in progress. The team continues to refine our CROS project governance plan to support effective and timely decision-making for the project at all appropriate levels. Based on the approval of Special Project Report 3 in May, the team has re-baselined the project schedule as planned. SPR 4 will be completed once the proposal has been selected. And the fiscal year 16-17 spring finance lever was approved by the legislature. Some of the activities we have plans for the upcoming month is to continue to collaborate with our project oversight stakeholders at the Department of Technology, Department of Finance, and the legislature. And our budget status as of the end of April, we are for the year to date, we are slightly over budget, but that's all due to some unanticipated software costs in the amount of about $18,000, but we anticipate that'll be trued up at the end of the May month period. But project to date, we are still under budget by over $2 million. That concludes our report, and we're prepared to respond to any questions that you may have.
You have a question? Yeah. Mr. Horton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Share with me the strategy for cross-training our current employees to allow them an opportunity to matriculate into some of these positions.
Would you like to address that?
Sure. We do have opportunities right now on the project for folks from the business areas to come and act as subject matter experts. We have some that are involved or have been involved in the evaluation process and will continue during the summer in contract finalization. And we're always looking for, great field experience from districts or from headquarter sections so they can bring their expertise and perhaps fill some of the vacancies that we will get with the 16-17 spring finance letter. Further, we are reaching out to folks in all of the areas, both as part of the organizational change management core team and as CROS liaisons. And we're working with those folks, introducing the business rules and getting them familiar with the RFP and some of the CROS artifacts. So we do see opportunities for those folks to actually be more involved in CROS during implementation.
Is there an opportunity to establish a course or classes or something that the employees could take where we provide the training in order for them to be able to transition into these positions?
Once we select the vendor and select the product, we'll have more definite information on what kind of training that will be provided to them. Right now, it's unknown until we actually select the vendor and the products that they'll be trained on, both from the business and the technology side.
So thank you for that, Chris. Honorable members, Chair, Mr. Horton, as Chris said, when the bidder, and there's two at this point, so when the bidders are putting their proposals on the table, there definitely is training. The bidders at this point, there's two different approaches, so it really is going to depend on the approach from them. Certainly, the software is software that totally will take care of tax administration, so a lot of the roles and responsibilities will be the same. Really, what the training that's being proposed from those bidders is just really how to use the system and how to optimize those efficiencies from using the system. So there will be significant training. The hope in the plan, based upon what we're seeing currently with those proposals, is that there will be subject matter experts that will have the opportunity to be totally immersed in it initially, and then those staff will be, the term you've heard, I'm sure, train the trainers. They will be allowed to do some additional training. But there will be significant, training as a part of the proposal and as a part of standing up the new solutions. So there will be significant things there. I'm being careful because a lot of that, as you know, is still in that confidential mode.
Right,
and so
right.
there's going to be, tax administration is tax administration, but there will be new opportunities to do things a bit differently. And so that we'll start to roll that out as we get more specific details of the actual contract.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
I do have a question. So all of these new programs that are being established through the legislature and require perhaps some software changes, I mean, how do we accommodate that moving forward if, CROS is right now just working on the programs we have today? And I'm just thinking like the Cannabis Compliance Project. They're going to pick a vendor who probably is going to, set up a system. We have to comply, and we have to be able to collect and audit. And so how do we propose doing that to add to the CROS system, or is it going to be a standalone system?
So I'm going to give our team an opportunity to answer that question because it's in Trista's bailiwick, but it has been accommodated as a part of the new requirements, and I'll offer
Okay,
Trista to.
Yes, when we went out to bid and we've had confidential discussions with all of the bidders, we have talked about potential future tax program changes and additional tax programs. So they are well aware. How the nuts and bolts of all of that work during implementation and the timing, I'm not quite sure. We'll have to see when we get there. But yes, we have made all of the bidders very aware that we expect to have more programs.
And can I also ask, I understand we've been around a long time, and taxpayers have been used to either paying, annually, semi-annually, quarterly. I'm just wondering whether there's any movement with this new CROS system to be able to collect taxes like more frequently, like weekly. I talked to a lot of taxpayers. They would like to get the money out of their accounts. They're able to do it. They're wondering why they can't just deposit more frequently versus waiting the quarterly and having to, hold on to the money.
Yes, as a matter of fact, and again, I'm being careful because of the confidentiality. The solution, the software itself, and I hate to say this because it's going to sound pretty corny, but it allows you to do whatever you want to do. Really what's going to happen, it's quite, for both of the bidders, pretty extraordinary solutions. It's much more contemporary and much more in terms of the productivity of its features and functions. It brings a lot more to the table than the existing system, legacy systems, and the constraints that brings. So it gives you a lot more capability to pretty much do whatever you want to do. I think the fundamental issue is going to be from a policy perspective, how you would want to do so. And currently, the way that our requirements are written and our rules are written is they're designed to say, you tell us what you want to do. And with this system, it allows us to configure it in to meet any range of needs. The bidders are bidders that are these commercial off-the-shelf solutions, and so they do exist in a number of other states with a broad range of, who, what, when, where, and how to do a tax administration. So it absolutely will give us that capability. We'll listen to you and to the organization about how you would like to have that configured, but absolutely.
Exciting. Ms. Harkey.
Hi, Ms. Fleming. Are we at the table, so to speak, on the the specifications that we will need to collect from medical marijuana and the cannabis industry as a whole, because I know there was some concern that we did not have people at the table because we were tracking from an agriculture perspective, which may not be and probably is not what we need from a tax perspective.
Correct. Those meetings, yes, Vice Chair Harkey, those meetings are continuing. We're still meeting on a weekly basis. The priority at this point is the core functionality, which is that track and trace system. So to your point, it has more to do with tracking of the crop product itself. But working with Department of Technology and all of the agencies, GovOps, et cetera, all of the agencies that are participating, we absolutely are sitting at the table with them. There have been, and I think the issue on the table over the last 2 weeks is that in addition to just tracking the crop, it is this issue of adding a portal. That's not in statute, but it is this additional functionality that would allow law enforcement to be able to go to the portal to determine if one of the sellers potentially is maybe in an illegal status. So currently, when you're looking at that track and trace from seed to sale, the sale portion of it, we would leverage the existing systems and technology that we have, including the capability with CROS. But to the extent that this portal is added and maybe some additional reporting, we would have to make some adjustments for some additional reporting, et cetera. So I do expect that we're going to have to make some modifications to our existing systems, and it will be available in CROS. But yes, we are still meeting with them weekly to try to understand what those requirements are. Again, in that track and trace system, they too are looking at a commercial off-the-shelf product, and so there's lots of demos and research that's occurring.
Well, I would just like to be sure that you connect on a regular basis with Ms. Ma, because she is probably the one person that can be sure you're at the table for the purpose.
Absolutely.
And I know that, tracking the product is one thing, but tracking the tax is going to be a whole nother
Completely.
completely different animal that we're going to need to get our hands around. We need to get in early so that if this kicks off, which we expect it will, we won't be blamed for not being up to speed.
Exactly.
And I think it's really important that we make that point. And it's a whole different animal, and we need to be at the table. I don't want to hear the BOEs not holding up their end. Okay.
Exactly. Yes,
Thank
ma'am,
you.
I hear you. Thank you for
Well,
that.
not your fault. I know you're trying.
And I know Ms. Fleming has been going to the meetings and making sure that we are at the table with all the other technology
Yes.
agency representatives. And I know my staff, Tim Moreland, I know Michelle Peelsticker, they've been attending all the meetings that are out there, the stakeholders, to make sure that we are also in the middle and engaged in everything. So,
Absolutely.
thank you.
Absolutely. Appreciate the support and the direction. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
your report. Ms. Richmond, next item.